Hey guys, welcome to the HVAC Diaries.
Oh boy, do I have some HVAC adventures for you this week. Don't forget the R, it's very important. How are you guys? Are you guys doing well? Oh my goodness, we had another action-packed week this week. So many interesting things happened. I'll get right into it. Are you ready? Let's go. Firstly, we finished off completely at the salmon hatchery. So that is awesome. I'm so happy to have finished that project and for it to have turned out so well. I will include it in today's vlog, but I think I'm gonna make a completely separate salmon hatchery job vlog about that one specifically because it's been over the last, 3 vlogs or so. So I'm gonna piece it all together and make it like a little story on its own. So watch out for that. We also did get back to the cooling towers that we were working on last week. This week we replaced one of the water pump motors on cooling tower number 2 because its water seal had been compromised, so it's leaking water out and forming like calcium and lime deposits on the housing of it. And also the bearings were really noisy. So we got that replaced. Actually, it was running for like 10 or 15 minutes before I went to my dad. I'm like, are we gonna run this thing or not? And he's like, what do you mean? It's been running for the last 10 minutes. What? So I put my ear up close to it. I'm like, what? This thing is whisper quiet. That's so crazy. Our plan for that motor is to reservice it. So we've actually inquired about a servicing kit for it from BAC. We're gonna service that motor ourselves, put a new water seal into it, and then we're gonna change the bearings. And then that pump motor is going to replace the one on cooling tower number 1. Then we'll do the same thing on that pump motor, and then that will be kept as a spare. Because apparently, these pump motors are like $12,000. Crazy. Also this week, we replaced a thermostat on a walk-in cooler on a catering truck. And he does like movie catering. So on the front of his walk-in cooler, he's got a picture of Christopher Walken. The walk-in. No. I think it's hilarious. Every time I see it, I kill myself laughing because I think it's just so funny. And there's a refrigeration joke for you. The walk-in cooler. You guys remember the 9-door reach-in freezer at the meat supplier that we were at last week? The one with the copper rub out that lost all of its refrigerant and its oil. Well, we were called back there again this week, this time for the evaporator fans, the fans on the inside. They were noisy. So we go take a look, and one of the fans is actually the little bracket that mounts it in its place. It's broken. So the fan motor is just so wobbly. Here, take a look.
I don't know what's on with your lefty.
The one beside it was just the same, so we replaced both of them at the same time. And that particular unit, actually every piece of equipment they have at that place is at least 30 years old, and it is just falling apart, and they seem to do more band-aid fixes than proper repairs and fixes and replacements when they need them. So these fans, I feel like, were just another band-aid. A really fancy wine store in downtown Vancouver, they've got this walk-in cellar that's locked. It's got a security pad and everything. And there's like $1,400, $1,600 wine bottles in that room. It's pretty crazy. They've got a really cool system that sends cool air from these little holes in the top of their cabinet. It sends it through the room, and then it sucks it out the bottom in these 2 return ducts. That go back to the unit. Very cool system, really cool and interesting job. We did a quick maintenance service and filter change on 3 train units on this little roof. One of the units is placed right beside a skylight, which is just perfect.
This unit here has the best access to the electrical panel. I literally have to hover myself over this skylight and get into that panel right there. Let's do it.
We also changed a couple of parts on a unit heater in a warehouse, just in time for cooling season. We also went to our cardboard factory customer. He has a few of these little panel ACs. They go inside electrical closets. So he's got a few of them. So he ended up actually just replacing one of them with a spare that he had. And so he asked us to take the little panel AC away. We usually get to work in the little workspace area. They've got like a maintenance workshop that we usually go and work at. But because he had somebody working there already in that space, and because he had a spare AC, he asked us to take the unit away with us to our workshop, work on it, see if it could be repaired or not. He says if the compressor is dead in it, he's like, it's not worth fixing for him because he's got so many spares, but still worth a look. We've worked at this grains processing place many times. They've got an air dryer, like an industrial air dryer that has refrigeration pots in it. And they have sunk so much money into repairing this air dryer over and over again. It's got 3 heat exchangers in it, and we've replaced 2 of them already. And the compressor, which is the reason why we were called this week, is dead again. So there is something crazy happening there because we just replaced that compressor in June of 2023 and we're April 2024 right now. It hasn't even been a full year. So there's some investigation that has to happen there. And then the air dryer company who supplied the air dryer has to figure out if they even have the correct machine there or not. I'm not actually allowed to take any videos or pictures on site there, but I snuck one for you anyway. I did get a new tool this week, which I haven't actually even opened yet or used or even looked at yet, but I want to tell you about it. It's a valve core removal tool from Fieldpiece. And this one is really cool because it's got a sight glass on it, which if you've used other core removal tools, sometimes you try to grab the core, like the little valve, and you don't really know if you've got it or not. So you pull it out and you're like, oh shit, it's not there. So you try again and you pull it out and it's like, oh, still don't have it. Keep trying and trying. Sometimes it's a little tricky. Maybe it's inexperience, but I don't know. This one, you can actually see the core in the sight glass. So you can see if you've grabbed it or not. So as you're pulling it, you can see through that little glass like, oh yeah, I've got it. Keep going. Or no, I don't have it. Try again. And you don't have to keep pulling it out and wasting your time. Oh boy, do I have some HVACR adventures for you this week. Are you ready? Let's go.
Sorry, that was a really awkward transition. But here we are back at the salmon hatchery. And before we do anything, we're going to make sure that our pressure test held. What do we got? 300, baby. Oh, magical. Magic.
No leaks here.
So we finally confirmed that that pressure switch was the only source of the leak inside the heat exchanger. So now we can finish our installation job. Dad did some really fancy pipe bending. I'm just swedging this thing so it can fit into the pipe where it has to go into. Look at that beautiful swedge. Trevor's braising, we're vacuuming, and then we're filling her up with refrigerant. And look, she's working. We got a little bit of a tour on the inside as well, so we learned how the system works, and we got to see the fishes. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet here because I'm going to make another vlog about this job later on. So for now, we're going to head over to our next job, which is the cooling tower. This is the new water pump motor that we're going to replace. And I was so proud of carrying this up the stairs, but no one took a video for me.
All the way up those stairs. Show them the stairs.
So we're back at this cooling tower. You guys remember this from last week? This is the water pump we're replacing, and we've already chained it up to hoist it. I'm just going to start off by opening the electrical panel of the new one and the old one and undoing all the wiring for this.
What's that? All right.
Now that everything is disconnected, I can pull that big power cable out and put it to the side for the next one. There are only 4 bolts on the bottom of the housing and then 4 holding it onto that plate. We undo all of those and start hoisting. And this chain hoist is so awesome. It makes the job so easy. And that's the inside. We're going to keep this part of the motor. And that over there is the gasket. We have to pull off that old gasket. Trevor's just going to like file it off with a sharp knife. It's actually really flimsy. Here, this is the new one. Here's the new one. And that's just going to go in before we put the new motor on. The chain hoist works really slowly, so I've sped this up, and look how easy it makes it to lift that motor. Plump, perfectly in place with that gasket in as well. So now I'm just going to start wiring this baby up. It's pretty tough. Gotta fight a little bit, but we got it. And there it is. It's running already. Can you hear it? I'm just kidding, it's muted. And in case you didn't believe me about carrying the motor up, I carried the other one, the old one, down as well. And this time I videoed myself. Pretty chuffed. See you next year for some more maintenance. Bye. The weather this spring has been so wet and miserable. This time we're heading to the catering truck. We're going to the walk-in cooler. Cracks me up every single time. So we seem to have a faulty temperature controller or thermostat. So we're just double checking that that is the case and not something else. And it is. It's the thermostat. So we're going to replace it. We brought a new one with us. We are ready to rock and roll. So the thermostat is in a super awkward place. Surprise, surprise. And I thought that maybe I could get to it where it was. I was just struggling along. But I just couldn't access some screws on the top. It was just not happening. And the shelf doesn't move at all. So that guy literally grinded away his metal shelving so that we could access those screws on the top of it. Like that. Voila. Easy peasy. So disassemble all of the wiring. Pull out the old thermostat. And put in the new one from the top, girl. There you go. It's a little tricky to work like this, but we got her. And now I'm just installing the sensor. And everything needs to be removed or installed from the top, so I don't know why I try to put the cover on from the bottom. It's really silly. Come on, girl. So I had to disconnect it again and then go from the top, like a smart person. So now I'm just programming this thermostat, and I need the instructions for each of the parameters to make sure I know what I'm doing, set points and all that. And there she is, with a few minor cosmetic surgeries happening. Here's the old thermostat. We're gonna recycle that guy, because she's garbage. So this vlog has no transitions. Now we're at the 9-door freezer. The call was for a noisy fan motor, but we just found the thing completely loose from its bracket. Just flopping around.
Just eating
Yeah,
out of the motor.
Yeah,
That's
Well,
been
the
doing
fan
that for
blade
a
too, like
long
it's-
time.
yeah. We'll have to get a new fan blade as well, I guess.
So we go shopping. Gonna get a new motor to match that one and a couple of new blades as well. So shiny and new. But before we get to do this job, we have to unpack the freezer so we can access it. And if you guys think that the staff here are going to do it for us, you are wrong. We would never get this job done if we were waiting for them to do it. And sometimes it can be very frustrating doing your job during business hours because people are just doing their thing. We're just doing that second one as well, and look at the bottom of this guy. It's just the same, it's worn away like. So we're going to replace both of the fan motors and both of the blades. And we're just kind of sprawling our workspace around here. Getting a pretty new blade on. Getting that motor all mounted. And usually we cut off the little plug, but these motors didn't come with a plug, so we had to actually install a plug. Trevor's just finishing up his motor. And then we can fire this thing up. And I love how you can see the cold air rushing out. Nice. Now we get to put it all back together. And voila! Perfect.
All right, guys. Well, that's all the adventures I have for you this week. It was a busy one, an exciting one. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog next week. Bye, guys. Put a new seal. And then that pump motor is going to be Also, this week we changed a thermostat. A thermostater. Okay. Asking all these questions and stuff, and at that point we were like, meh. We visited our cardboard factory client. They have this little AC that is let's start that one again. We also went to our cardboard customer, to our own workshop. Usually we do our little work. It's not little work. To be very old. We did rooftop maintenance. We did maintenance on rooftop units. Okay. Come on, UPS, leave. There you go. Bye. All right, I gotta hurry this up before the rain comes. Removal tool.
Yeah, use a spanner on that.
nothing really.
That's what I thought.
Got a new one. Come on, go in there, you little shit. Alright, that's gonna get in there right now. Okay, perfect. Perfect. I can only go one way, and that's gonna be this way.
That was too easy, eh?
Too easy?
Oh, you got it.